Hey guys, let's get more news from Dallas Cowboys, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. If you've been around the Cowboys for a while, you'll know that rosters are largely set before training camp even begins, and most of the extra players brought in are little more than sparring and training partners for the roster locks. Injuries and standout performances in camp provide the opportunity for maybe a handful of players each year to work their way onto the roster, but that's pretty much it. To get a better feeling for what the contested spots could be on the 2024 Cowboys roster, here are 3 separate roster projections. One from the always reliable Todd Archer at ESPN, one from the consistently well-informed John Machota of The Athletic, and one from Mike Fisher, who has his ear close to the ground in Dallas. These 3 projections should give us a good idea of where public sentiment currently stands regarding the 2024 Cowboys roster. I've combined all 3 projections in the tables below. The table highlights, in yellow, the spots that do not yet appear to be locked down. Look closely, and you'll see there aren't many of those spots left, at least if these projections are anything to go by. Do the Cowboys keep Cooper Rush as the 3rd QB? Probably not on the initial 53-man squad, but he could get cut and then return later, as has been the case so often with him, Fisher writes. Archer wonders whether Rush might perhaps be a trade candidate. Rush, 6-1 as a starter, also could be trade bait for teams needing a quality backup. 5 or 6 wide receivers? If the Cowboys keep 6, it looks like rookie Ryan Flournoy currently has a leg up. C.J. Goodwin will JoJo his way back onto the roster, even if he doesn't make the initial 53. It wouldn't be a surprise to see Dallas find a way to get him on the 53 again right before the season starts, Machota writes. We've been doing these kinds of roster projection summaries for a long time here on Blogging the Boys. And yes, we know that rosters are largely set before training camp even begins. But this is probably the lowest number of contested spots I've seen in the last 15 years, and it's not because the Cowboys are stocked with quality depth, quite the opposite. Machota and Fisher have all 8 rookies making the team, including both 7th-rounders. Sure, this could turn out to be an exceptionally deep draft class, but it's more likely that there just isn't enough quality depth on the roster to push the Day 3 rookies onto the practice squad. Normally, you'd have a handful of free agent acquisitions providing some competition, but the Cowboys sat on their hands in free agency. Does this mean this year's camp will be Camp Cupcake version 2.0, to borrow a narrative from the Wade Phillips years? Probably not, but the Cowboys' depth this year will be tested more than ever before. Injuries, suspensions, unexpected retirements, holdouts, trade requests, and many other things could expose the shallow depth on this roster lickety-split. Sure, the Cowboys could still bring in extra free agents during camp. They will almost certainly scour the waiver wire during final cuts for extra help, and may even consider a trade or 2 to plug unexpected holes during the season. But they are going to be walking a roster depth tightrope all season without a safety net. Since 2000, the New England Patriots have won 6 of the 24 Super Bowl titles. The Kansas City Chiefs own 3 championships, while the Baltimore Ravens, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Pittsburgh Steelers, and New York Giants own 2 Lombardi trophies. Finally, the Indianapolis Colts, New Orleans Saints, Green Bay Packers, Seattle Seahawks, Denver Broncos, Philadelphia Eagles, and Los Angeles Rams all won a Super Bowl championship over that span. Let's travel back a little further. Since the merger in 1970, the 12 franchises with the most regular season victories are the Steelers, 514, Dallas Cowboys, 495, Miami Dolphins, 481, Patriots, 478, Minnesota Vikings, 471, Broncos, 469, San Francisco 49ers, 466, Packers, 455, Chiefs, 445, Eagles, 440, Las Vegas Raiders, 428, and Washington Commanders, 425. Those are the numbers. What's interesting is when you take a look at those regular season victory totals, 5 of these fabled organizations, listed in alphabetical order, that have made their mark on Super Sunday haven't done much in that regard lately. Is it time for one of these franchises to end a long NFL title drought and claim another Lombardi trophy? Dallas Cowboys. Last Super Bowl victory, 1995, XXX. Rinse and repeat, but not in a good way. The Cowboys are coming of 3 straight 12-5 campaigns, capturing the NFC East in 2021 and 2023 and a wild card berth in 22. Still, Dallas continues to have its problems in the postseason. Since 1996, Jerry Jones' franchise owns a disappointing 5-13 playoff mark. Of course, it's hard to reach the Super Bowl when you can't reach the conference title game. The last time the boys got that far was nearly 30 years ago in 1995, the season that head coach Barry Switzer led the club to a title in Super Bowl 30. This offseason, Mike McCarthy's squad saw a lot of key departures. Las Vegas Raiders. Last Super Bowl victory, 1983-18. The days of being one of the league's most successful teams in the NFL faded long ago, although the silver and black always seems to be in the news. In the span of the past 3 seasons, the club has utilized 4 head coaches. Antonio Pierce took over for Josh McDaniels midway through 2023 and the team improved. Still, the Raiders' last Super Bowl victory came during the 1983 season, a 38-9 rout of then-defending Super Bowl champion Washington in Tampa. Over the past 21 seasons, 2003-23, the club owns a disturbing 124-215 regular season record and has reached the postseason only twice, without a win. Miami Dolphins. Last Super Bowl victory, 1973-8. With Hall of Fame head coach Don Shula at the helm, the club made 3 consecutive Super Bowl appearances. A 24-3 loss to Dallas, 6 at New Orleans, was followed by perfection, 17-0, in 1972 and a second straight NFL title in 73. Alas, 2024 marks the 51st anniversary of the Miami's last Super Bowl win. Of course, this franchise has its own current issues when it comes to the postseason. The Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since 2000, and there's been no division title since 2008. Promising head coach Mike McDaniel has guided the Fins to a wild card berth each of the past 2 years, albeit without a victory. San Francisco 49ers. Last Super Bowl victory, 1994-6. Current Niners head coach Kyle Shanahan has led the club to the NFC title game 4 times in the last 5 years, and he's guided to the Super Bowl twice over that span. However, a talented club came up short to the Kansas City Chiefs both times, first in 2019, 31-20 in LIV, and this past season, 25-22 in OT in LVII. There was a time that the 49ers were the first NFL franchise to win 5 Super Bowl titles. Then again, the last victory came back in 1994 under head coach George Seifert and a phenomenal year from Hall of Fame quarterback Steve Young. Now the team has dropped 3 straight on Super Sunday dating back to 2012. Washington Commanders. Last Super Bowl victory, 1991, XXVI. What the hell has happened to this proud franchise? Like the rival Dallas Cowboys, the last time this club won a Lombardi trophy was also the last time this franchise got as far as the NFC title game. That was back in 1991, when the then Redskins defeated the Bills, 37-24, in Super Bowl 26 in Minneapolis. The 2024 season will mark the first in 38 years that Bill Belichick has not coached in some capacity at the NFL level. While the 72-year-old turned down an assistant job with the San Francisco 49ers, a return to the sidelines in 2025 is all but assured. The question of where Belichick ultimately lands is still far from being decided, but it's never too early to dissect the possibilities. Here's an updated look at several potential fits and why those landing spots make sense. Chicago Bears. Following an offseason full of massive additions, the Bears are seemingly all in for 2024. If they fail, head coach Matt Eberflus may have to fall on the sword. There isn't much linking Belichick to the Bears, but they have one commodity he covets, a young quarterback to mold, Caleb Williams. Along with an improved defense and a stockpile of weapons on offense, Chicago could be one of the more attractive options. Meanwhile, the Bears currently have the third best odds of landing Belichick. Dallas Cowboys. Mike McCarthy has struggled to get the Cowboys over the hump, going 1-3 in the postseason over 4 seasons. Meanwhile, 2024 is a lame duck year for the head coach, entering the final year of his contract. Barring a Super Bowl victory or a very deep playoff run, McCarthy's time is likely up. If so, the Cowboys will need to make a big splash, and there's none bigger than Belichick, who former head coach Eric Mangini believes would be the best option for Dallas. Perhaps Belichick coming to Arlington is fate. After all, he told Jerry Jones in 1996 not to forget about him if an opportunity presented itself, something the Cowboys owner has admitted in the past to thinking about often. New York Giants. The Giants are seemingly going backward following a 6-11 finish in 2023 and the loss of their star running back, Saquon Barkley, to the division rival Philadelphia Eagles. If things continue to go south, that could spell the end for head coach Brian Daboll and general manager Joel Schoen, making Belichick, already an upgrade, even more appealing. Former star running back Tiki Barber claims Daboll and Schoen are safe. However, things can change quickly in the NFL, especially for losing teams. Meanwhile, Belichick has a history with the Giants, and his relationship with co-owner John Mara and the Mara family goes back to 1985 when his coaching career began with the franchise. Fences might need mending, but the pair have 2 Lombardi trophies together to fall back on, and there might be potential for more if they reunite. Philadelphia Eagles. Belichick's name became tied to the Eagles following the team's devastating late-season collapse in 2023. Head coach Nick Sirianni will get another shot in 2024, but the 6-time Super Bowl winner still looms in the background. The Eagles enter this season with championship aspirations and a roster capable of delivering them. If they fall short again with Sirianni steering the ship, that could lead to change, especially if Belichick is still an option. In all likelihood, he will be, and according to ESPN insider Jeremy Fowler, it's a job the former New England Patriots boss may want in the worst way. Meanwhile, Tom Curran of NBC Sports Boston said the Eagles were the early favorite to land Belichick.